Hey guys, welcome to a new video. Like, comment and subscribe if you enjoy. Without any further interruptions, enjoy the What If. Chapter 22. Water under the bridge. Damn Doflamingo, wasting my time, Garp said to himself as he stood in front of a rather large marine ship, with all of his men giving him a rather wide berth. He said that the Uzumaki Naruto kid that has Sengoku gnashing his teeth would be out here soon. He punched his fist into his palm. It's been days. He isn't here. He saw two young marines coming up to him. Kobe, Helmeppo, do you have anything on an Uzumaki Naruto from around town? Both stopped in front of Garp and saluted as Kobe spoke. No sir, nothing. No one matching any description of Uzumaki Naruto at all. Damn it, Garp said again, I wanted to take that bastard down myself. There's something about that guy that seems like he could be a threat. He already kidnapped the princess of Alabasta and he's a rookie, just like my grandson. Apparently they're accomplices as well. Meanwhile, nearby, Soren and Naruto stood crouched stealthily atop a rooftop with a pair of binoculars for each man as they looked at the ship planning to disembark. So this is the hero of the last era. Monkey D. Garp. Soren nodded, not that Naruto could see it from how he was looking. Garp was walking around flanked by two young men, one in a marine outfit with pink hair, a scar on his forehead, and glasses placed on his forehead. The other was blonde, wearing a white long-sleeved shirt with a green sweater vest and purple pants. Yep. And it looks like he's leaving. Thank God, because 3 days of not getting drunk or going where I wanted to in this town was getting irksome. Naruto smirked as he kept looking through his binoculars. Amen, brother. But it's all right now, because he's gone, and I can officially act a nuisance again. Naruto held up his hand that was quickly slapped in a high five by Soren, and that's our good luck bad luck exchange for the time being. You got your ass whipped by Doflamingo. Naruto ignored Soren's angry growl at being reminded of his defeat, and in return we dodge having to fight a hero that you seem somewhat scared of. You don't even know who that guy was. Uzumaki, Soren said, not disagreeing with Naruto's statement of saying that he was somewhat afraid to fight Garp. That man is a monster. He could be the fleet admiral of entire marine force if he wanted to be, I'm sure of it. Naruto watched Garp and his two young trainees board the ship as the crew began making preparations to leave Water 7. I'll take your word for it. You know more about the world at large than I do. A grin came to Naruto's face as the shouts of marines preparing to leave rang out. So many strong people in the world, and I'm going to take my spot at the top. I have to. Soren nodded contently. Good. You're starting to take my advice sometimes. I was wondering if you were just asking me stuff so that you could figure exactly the opposite of what you wanted to do. Now what's going down with the ship? Naruto and Soren stowed the binoculars away and stood up, stretching their legs from being crouched down for so long. Alright, so check it out. The entire deck needs to be redone. The masts need to be relayered because of all of the damage we do to it. The nicks and dents in the walls and railings need to be fixed up. Our hull is actually in great shape. We never take any damage to the hull. So how long are we going to be here? Soren asked Naruto. I'm in no real rush and I don't think you are either, but having a timetable helps me stay calm most of the time. Naruto shook his head. I don't know. Stanley checked the exterior yesterday and gave me a rundown of what he was going to do to fix it up. Today is supposed to be the interior, like our rooms and stuff. Rooms, Soren said with a laugh. What about them? We have a marine ship Uzumaki. We have 6 times the rooms that we need. Do we really need to do anything with them? Naruto rolled his eyes. Duh. What are we going to do with that many empty useless rooms? We're keeping a few, but the rest are going to be turned into something cool. Like a dojo so that we don't have to tear up the deck unless we feel like getting fresh air. Soren said as he actually started thinking about it. Okay, that sounds cool to me. Can we afford it? Naruto grinned at his bald ally. Of course we can afford it. Between the money we were given for helping Alabasta, and the money I got when I first started sailing with Nami-chan, we have more than enough. I was always thrifty with our funds. Why do you think I just handed over 1 million so easily to Murat? Soren grinned as he thought up his retort. Because you think with your dick and it was pointed right at hot Dr. Lady. Wallet be damned. You're a funny guy, Naruto said with a dry look. Why don't you go find that chick with the sword that you kept taking it easy on? What's her name again? He asked, grinning again when he got a rise out of Soren. I am not into the Tashigi woman Uzumaki. I just want to see if I can change someone's point of view in the world to something a little less black and white. Soren said, trying to defend himself as far as his last few encounters with said swordswoman went. Naruto looked ahead as the two kept roof hopping in order to get back to their current base of operations. Whatever you have to tell yourself, Soren, I'm not going to judge you. XXX Natural Disaster. Scrap Island. Nojiko took the initiative and finished leading the shipwright that Naruto and Vivi had conscripted into helping them with their ship, and that's everything. She said with a sigh, signifying that she was happy to be finished with the tour of the ship. It's really pretty Spartan around here. We don't go much for anything lavish. Naruto-kun usually destroys any town where we can hang out and buy stuff. Accidentally of course, but still. Stanley was writing down his observations in a notepad, so he's Uzumaki Naruto is he. The seed of war. Nojiko nervously nodded her head as her right hand slowly drifted for one of the pistols around her waist in case he wanted to make an issue of it. Calm down lass, I'm not going to start a fight over something like this. I do plenty o' work for pirates and her boyfriend seems like a good person, high bounty or not. Nojiko raised a delicate eyebrow as she moved her hand from her guns. How did you know that Naruto-kun and I were together? I don't think I was that obvious with it. Stanley smirked. But you were. When we walked about this ship of yours you stopped at everyone's door except 2 rooms that belonged to you and him. You went right into the captain's room as if you were walking into the common area. You must be quite comfortable there lass. Blushing at his insinuation, Nojiko tried redirecting the conversation. Well, Naruto-kun isn't back yet and you're done with your evaluation of the ship. Do you have anything that you want me to tell him or inform him of when he gets back? Stanley exited the ship and threw a wave back at Nojiko. No, that won't be necessary. Just tell Mr. Uzumaki to come back to and talk to me when he gets a chance. I still have things I want to work into the schematics of the ship. I'll see if there's anything in particular he wants. He then started snickering. I wonder if I can sell the soundproofing process on him for his room. For the ladies' benefit. Nojiko watched the raucously laughing man leave with a twitching eye. You are so lucky that I can't shoot you or I'd be a hypocrite. She muttered to herself before moving to a couch in the common area and taking a seat, looking at the log pose on her wrist. 1 week at least before we can leave. Damn it Uzumaki, I hate that damn move. Chill out. It was either use Hiraishin or we run all the way back. Garp isn't far away enough for us to be heightening our profile yet. Nojiko got up and walked into Naruto's room to see both Naruto and Soren standing there, one with a rather disgruntled look on his face, the other smiling at her before he walked over and gave her a kiss. Hello Noji-chan. What's going on? Nojiko smiled and pointed her thumb. You just missed Stanley. He finished checking over the ship and said for you to drop by later at Dock 2 with whatever ideas you wanted for him to try and fit into the new design. Fun. Naruto said as he jumped back and landed on his bed. I'll head out in a bit. Does anyone want to come with me? Soren shook his head as he walked towards the door to leave the room. Nah, you can go Uzumaki. I need to keep training. Now that we're somewhere solid that I can cut loose a little on, I have some techniques that I want to test out. Naruto shrugged. Suit yourself, but go around and spread the word to see if anyone wants to head out with me. Soren gave him an okay sign as he left the room. Naruto looked back over at Nojiko. So are you going to come with me? Nojiko nodded. Yeah, it should be nice. Footsteps rapidly pounded on the ground leading towards Naruto's room. Yosaku apparently is coming with us too. Right on cue. Yosaku burst through the door, Kubikiraboucho on his back ready to roll. Are we going somewhere Naruto and Ikki? Huh? He asked excitedly. Nojiko started laughing hard enough to require the wall to keep her balance. He's like a dog or something, laughs it's so good. Naruto jumped out of his bed and landed in front of Nojiko and Yosaku. Alright then let's go. We should get there in 15 minutes if we move fast enough. 15 minutes. Both Nojiko and Yosaku said at the same time before Yosaku realized what he was implying. Oh, I get it. Naruto and Ikki's been running on the rooftops to get everywhere. We can't do that Ikki, we had to take the long way. Nojiko thought for a moment. Well, we could rent a Yagura bull. We won't be getting there in 15 minutes like you say, Naruto-kun, but it won't take nearly as long as it would otherwise. It's not that expensive, especially to us. Fine, Naruto said in defeat. He really wanted to take the rooftops to get there. He had seen the system of streets and canals and he wanted no part of it. He would probably get himself lost if he tried navigating his way around on the ground level, but Nojiko was smart and she sounded like she knew what she was doing. XXX, 30 minutes later, bored, 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 bored. Naruto kept repeating as he walked along the street, the water street to be more exact. He was walking on the water as Yosaku and Nojiko rode on the back of a Yagura bull nearby. Nojiko let out a sigh of exasperation as people from all around looked at Naruto in utter awe. Naruto-kun, stop showing off. I don't see why you didn't just rent another Yagura bull and be normal. Because being normal sucks, Naruto said blankly as he kept walking on the surface of the canal, and I'm not going to rent something to ride on when I can just walk. I'm not a lazy ass, Noji-chan. He pointed at the area where the large doors saying 2 feet were, and that's where we're going. Go put the Yagura bull up and meet me inside. Nojiko and Yosaku marveled at the size of the entire place, seeing as how they had never been that far into the town before. They had to take a large water elevator to get to the shipyard, and Naruto wasn't that patient, as evidenced by him sticking to the wall and running right up the side to the top. Naruto quickly made his way from the water to the shipyard where he quickly found the diminutive foreman. Stanley, you wanted to see me. He turned from overseeing the shipyard to see the familiar blonde who had asked for his help, Mr. Uzumaki. Right on time. I cut through these plans like a hacksaw, so tell me what you think about these ideas. I think they'll suit ye and everyone on our ship. Stanley handed Naruto a small notebook with everything he had put down as potential for his ship. Naruto took it and looked at it closely, taking his time and going over every page provided before he looked at Stanley with absolutely no expression on his face. He reached into his pocket and handed him a slip of paper. Sir, here is a blank sheet. You write any amount of money whatsoever on this parchment and I will produce the necessary funds to foot the bill. I do not care. Money is no object. Stanley grinned at Naruto. The most expensive thing will be the wood needed for everything. I assume you would like the best wood available. Naruto's face slowly morphed into a smug look. I have the best wood available. Wood made with the power of chakra. He looked around sheepishly. I just need an open vacant spot to use it in because I can't really control that power yet. It's pretty wild and unrefined, but the wood is top-notch. Fire even has a tough time causing it any harm. He then waved all of that off, but right now I have some killer ideas. I need a sturdier sail design so I can put a little something special on the back to make the ship go faster. I also need a more aerodynamic hull so I can tear ass through the sea faster. Ooh, and then, lad, Stanley finally cut him off. Why don't you just write down everything you want, and produce the lumber that you said you could provide, and we can get started. Naruto pointed at him in acknowledgement. That's exactly what I'm going to do right now. I'm so on it. This is going to be awesome. Can you really do all of the stuff you put in that notebook? Wahahaha. Can I do it? Stanley laughed at Naruto's questioning comment. Of course I can do it. I wouldn't have even drawn him up as plans if I couldn't do it. He thumped Naruto on the shoulder good-naturedly. Now, you should go find Iceberg. He's the one that ye negotiate the price with. If ye tell him you're supplying the wood, ye can hammer out a lower price. I said ye might be stopping by sometime today. He pointed in a direction. There was a ruckus at Dock 1 not too long ago. Iceberg should still be there. Naruto started walking away and gave a two-fingered salute to Stanley. All right then, I'll be back after I work out all of the details. Later. XXX. Naruto landed in front of an area designated with a massive 1 foot on a large door, signifying Dock 1, and opened it up, letting himself inside. Oi. Is there an iceberg around here? Naruto said as he landed from running atop the buildings around him. Stanley said that you might be expecting an Uzumaki. Naruto, that's me. Naruto. Naruto heard him name called loudly and rather angrily, which confused him. He had taken great care not to piss anyone off since he had arrived in Water 7. Nojiko made him promise her. So who in the hell? Gomu Gomu no pistol, Gum Gum pistol. Luffy. Naruto said to himself before getting nailed with a fist and bursting into smoke, leaving a log behind in his place. Naruto showed himself again standing on top of a pile of lumber. Luffy. What the hell? It's been months and the first thing you do when you see me is try to knock the hell out of me. Luffy had a rather angry look on his normally good-natured face. Don't act like you don't know what you did. You kidnapped Vivi. Naruto face faulted before standing up angrily to see Nami and an unknown group of people in Luffy's company. I did not kidnap Vivi. Those are slanderous lies of a slanderous nature. He then disappeared in a shunshin and reappeared at Nami's side. I did miss you a lot though, Nami-chan. Nami quickly gave him a kiss before slapping him. Ow. What the hell? I say I miss you and you hit me. Nami put her hands on her hips. Well, why do the papers say that you kidnapped Vivi? There has to be a reason for it. Naruto sighed and opened his mouth to answer before ducking a kick from Luffy. Luffy, chill out so I can explain. Don't make me kick your ass. Give Vivi back and let her go home, you bully. Luffy shouted at Naruto. He had forgotten how strong Naruto was, and that was before then. They were all well aware of Naruto's bounty now, and it couldn't have been just because of one thing. Luffy had to start stepping it up now if he wanted to beat Naruto. Gomu Gomu no Gatling, Gum Gum Gatling Gun. Luffy began throwing rapid-fire fists at Naruto, who somehow danced his way around each one. Hold still. Like hell, I'm going to let you hit me. Naruto shouted back at the rubber man as he kept slipping Luffy's punches. I've seen what that move does to people. Now chill out or I'll make you. 4-Cage Bunshin popped into existence on all sides of Luffy before taking advantage of Luffy's tunnel vision on Naruto and kicking him into the air, stopping his barrage. Zu. Ma. Ki. Naruto jumped into the air and dropped an axe kick on the top of Luffy's head. Uzumaki Naruto Renden. Uzumaki Naruto Barrage. The kick deposited Luffy hard into a small crater in the ground. Now will you shut up and listen to me? His answer came in a pair of hands reaching out to grab him and missing. I guess not. Did that last one even hurt? Gomu Gomu no Rocket, Gum Gum Rocket. Luffy's body shot out of the crater at Naruto after his outstretched hands found something firm to grab a hold of and pull with. Naruto grinned fairly as he saw Luffy's body flying at him in proverbial slow motion. He made 4 quick hand seals. Doden. Doryuheki, Earth Release, Earth-style wall. A large wall quickly rose from the ground in front of Naruto with the Uzumaki swirl on the front as he heard the dull thump of Luffy bouncing off of his temporary construct. I know that hurt. Are we done, Luffy? He heard Luffy growl and run around the side of the wall to deliver a punch to his face that revealed that Naruto to be a Cage Bunshin. Doden. Shinju Zanshu no Jutsu, Earth Release, Double Suicide Decapitation Jutsu. A pair of hands latched down around Luffy's ankles and tried dragging him underground, but Luffy's legs stretched, keeping him from being trapped. Naruto reappeared from the ground with a deadpan look on his face as Luffy pulled his legs free and snorted like a bull about to charge. What's going on? NMAA. Khalifa, do you know? A man with blue hair, a 5 o'clock shadow, black suit pants, and an orange and red striped suit jacket said as he watched Naruto and Luffy's ruckus. Khalifa, a blonde woman with glasses and hair tied into a bun who wore a yellow, long-sleeved jacket, high-heeled black boots, and a black tight miniskirt spoke as she adjusted her glasses. The other man is Uzumaki Naruto. Bounty of 245 million belly. I'm not quite sure what the issue between the two is. Iceberg-san. She saw Naruto take notice of her and point and wink at her for identifying him. That's sexual harassment, she said, getting Naruto to gape at her in disbelief. Gomu Gomu no Stamp, Gum Gum Stamp. Luffy's foot stretched straight out and caught Naruto, who was still recovering from Khalifa's comment, right in the stomach, driving him hard into a storehouse right through a shut door. Luffy grinned at having finally caught Naruto with an attack as he heard him groan from inside of the storehouse. That was such a sucker punch, Luffy. Naruto's voice echoed out from within the storehouse, mice running away from the clatter he had caused inside with his body. Luffy rotated his arm preparing for more of a fight. No, I didn't punch you, I kicked you, stupid. Now get out here so I can beat you up some more. He didn't expect to hear Naruto start to laugh from inside of the storehouse. What's funny? Naruto stopped laughing as he had still remained to have been seen emerging from the storehouse. You're a few years too early to say you can beat me, Luffy. One of the mice who had run out of the storehouse ran past Luffy, before transforming in a puff of smoke back into Naruto, who had a wild grin on his face and his hands held in a tiger hand seal. Konohagakure Hiden Taijutsu Ugi, Senin Garashi Konohagakure's most secret and sacred technique, 1000 years of death. Too fast for Luffy to register a defense for. Naruto's pointed fingers, held in the seal, found their way to the most vulnerable spot feasible from the rubber man's backside. Adding a little wind to the humiliating technique sent Luffy rocketing off, screaming and holding his rectum. Naruto stood up out of his attack stance and looked at Khalifa, now that could actually register as sexual harassment. He looked in the direction that he launched Luffy. Okay, he's going to be right back here in a moment, pissed off to boot, so I'll just say I didn't kidnap Vivi. There were reasons that Cobra needed her smuggled out of the country, and he decided to scapegoat me since I'm supposed to be an outlaw anyway. You can ask her yourself later, she's actually with me and my crew. Nami still had her hands on her hips before relenting her stern look. Okay, I believe you Naruto-kun, and don't touch me for a while, at least until you wash your hands please. Naruto looked at his hands and blinked. Deal. He turned to Iceberg. So how much do I owe you if I supply the lumber for all of the work to be done on my ship? Khalifa showed him her notes in her ledger and he addressed Naruto on it. Let's see. Not a lot of guys can supply their own lumber for the work that needs to be done. That's a significant portion of the billing right there, building supplies. If you already have that, then you can be cut a break in the price. I would say that after going through the intended plans and being told that you can supply your own wood, the price will be around 55 million belly. Naruto nodded. All right then, sweet. I was expecting way more than that. Yeah, I can pay that right now. Naruto said, extracting a scroll from his coat. This has 100 million in it, just let me split it up and I'll hand it right over. Naruto grinned. Me and Johnny cleaned so many fools out on Jaya, you'd think they would have stopped trying to gamble with us. Nami draped over his shoulder with money signs in her eyes. Yes Nami-chan. I don't know why you're so up for this money, you seem to have more than this right there. He pointed at suitcase she was holding. While he was doing that, a hand tried to grab into his coat pocket that he wound up stopping. Don't do that. The hand belonged to a blond man with a yellow shirt and denim jacket who had a pair of goggles on his forehead. The man grinned at Naruto. You wouldn't mind sparing some of that money for someone down on their luck, would you? Naruto gave him a deadpan look. Someone that says that gambled their money away. No. Besides, you wouldn't even know how to open one of these scrolls of mine. Naruto let go of his arm. I don't even know who you are. The name's Polly, he said before looking at a man with a nose similar to Usopp's wearing a white cap and orange shirt with blue sleeves that appeared as if he had just gotten through running from somewhere. Hey Kaku. Where did you go? The man pointed a thumb in the direction he had come from. Oh, I just came back from checking out our customer's ship. And Iceberg-san is here too. Damn it Naruto. Luffy roared as he stomped back angrily over to where everyone was. This time you're not pulling any of your sneaky, weird ninja stuff on me when we fight. He then noticed Kaku and his mood changed. Oh hey. How much will it cost? I have tons of money to pay, and if you can could you put in some cannons and make it super strong and make it go faster? Nami interjected as well. Please also do some decorative remodeling on the exterior and some remodeling for the rooms too. She then looked around and saw 2 suitcases laying around nearby. Where's Usopp? Oh well, at least he left the rest of the money here. Kaku started speaking on the condition of the ship. Well, you must have had quite an eventful trip to get here. Luffy grinned. Yep, we climbed a mountain and then we went into the sky. Naruto pointed at him in realization. I fucking knew that was you. You bastard. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I'm seriously going to top that one. He was honestly upset that he hadn't gone up there. He actually probably could have, but it would have been by himself and he wasn't leaving the rest of his crew behind just to get his kicks. Kaku let out a sigh at hearing about the fond memories that Luffy had of his ship. The truth is, even we aren't able to fix your ship. That got surprised reactions from everyone around within earshot. Even if we patch it up as much as we can, the probability of you making it to the next island is 0%. Polly put a cigar in his mouth and lit it up. Is there something wrong with the keel? Yes, Kaku admitted, it's severely damaged. The fact is, the ship can't be repaired no matter how much money you have. It's honestly a miracle that you made it this far. Naruto turned his head to see that Yosaku and Nojiko had finally made their way over, but the hello that Nojiko had for her sister died in her throat when she felt the grave atmosphere abundant. What's wrong, Naruto-kun? Naruto scratched the top of his head. The going merry can't be fixed. Apparently it's really messed up from all of the time on the Grand Line. That really sucks for them. What exactly is wrong with the going merry? Nami asked. There had to be something that could be done to fix it. Don't you know anything about ship's girl? Polly asked as he began to explain. The keel is the most important part of the ship, the support that goes from the head to the tail of it. It can't just be fixed like that. Every piece of wood on a ship is centered at the keel. It's the lifeline of the ship. Replacing the keel is the same exact thing as building a whole new ship. He shut his eyes after he made his point. It can't be repaired. Your ship is nothing more than a pile of wood waiting to be scrapped. Nami was outraged. The going merry was their ship. They couldn't just get rid of it. How could you say that? I know it's bad, but it's the truth. Polly said. Luffy jumped back in at that point. Then just remake it from the start. Remake the going merry. A pigeon on the shoulder of a man with curly black hair, a goatee, and a top hat answered him. That's not possible either. While it is possible to build two identical ships, it still won't be the same. There are no two same ships in the world. It all depends on the wood. Even if we had the blueprints, we can't build an exact replica. The ones who will feel the change most of all will be all of you. You'll all know it's not the same ship. Nami's mood sombered at the implication. So you're saying that the going merry will never sail again? Kaku nodded. That's correct. What Lucci said was true. You can either take it apart now or let it sink and die naturally. Iceberg decided to give his own opinion at this point as everyone around with an attachment to the ship were stunned to silence. The ship has lived out its life, but if you think of it another way, with your old one gone you can buy a brand new ship. Luffy visibly bristled at this point and Naruto palmed his face at the coming explosion. You have the money for it. I heard about your ship's caliber. It's a very old model. The sea beyond this point is too rough for it, even if it wasn't broken. No. Luffy finally shouted, having had enough of this conversation. I don't want a new ship. If you just fix it, it'll definitely keep going. We got here perfectly today, so who says it can't go on? I just can't believe you. You have no idea how strong our ship is. A small white mouse emerged from Iceberg's pocket that he rubbed on the top of its head. Then you can just sit in that ship and sink with it. You little punk, you call yourself a captain. He then let out a sigh and began walking away. That's enough talking for today, just think about it. Come back when you want to buy a new ship. With your 300 million belly you can easily afford the best ship we can make. He turned to Naruto. Come with me if you want to pay in advance for your ship's repairs. Naruto nodded and formed a cage bunchen that he handed the scroll containing the money to. Go with him. Divide it up and pay for everything up front. If you need more for some reason to spell and tell me. The clone nodded and followed Iceberg and Khalifa away. Naruto walked over to Nami and Luffy, as did Yosaku and Nojiko, who was currently listening to her sister run down the situation. Hey you guys, Iceberg called out, you're going to want to hide. There's people from the world government here. Naruto and his clone with Iceberg quickly used henge to transform into generic-looking dock workers while everyone else hid behind a large pile of lumber. Luffy took a hold of the 2 extra suitcases that Usopp had apparently left behind and frowned. These feel light. Nami started laughing nervously, as if that would actually keep what she knew had already happened from being real. Don't joke around, there's 100 million belly in there, how can it be light? She hesitantly opened the suitcases and let out a scream of horror. The other 200 million we had is gone. When you look at the 2 cases, they aren't even ours. Hey, weren't you with the Frankies earlier today? A man asked Kaku that the shipwright denied. I could have sworn I saw your long nose. It seemed like they were carrying you too. Wah! Luffy exclaimed. Usopp was kidnapped by those Frankie people. Luffy, go find him. Nami yelled frantically, prompting the straw hat-clad pirate to take off rapidly to do so. Wait. Do you even know where to go? She turned to Polly. Hey, do you know where the Frankies live? Polly quickly answered. Go from where you all docked your ship, and then go northeast along the beach. You'll see the Frankie house. Nami immediately took off towards the Yagura bull they used to get there so that she could get back to the Going Merry and get Zoro as well as stash the rest of their money. Iceberg turned to Naruto, "Aren't you going too?" Naruto started feeling around on his person. "Damn it, where's the Hiraishin kunai? I swore I had one with me in case I needed it. No, now I've got to find Nami-chan again to get her one." He turned to Yosaku and Nojiko, "What should I do?" Yosaku gripped the handle of Kubikiraboucho defensively, "I'll stay with Nojiko Ainu. You're faster than the both of us and we'd only slow you down." Naruto and Ikki. Nojiko gave him a reassuring smile, "Yes. We'll look around here and go to Dock 2 to find Stanley and see about our ship. You go. We can get back to the natural disaster just fine on our own, okay?" Naruto nodded and gave Nojiko a kiss before taking off to find the Going Merry. Everyone watched as Naruto started running atop the roofs of the buildings and finally jumped off of the edge of the elevated position of the Galley La Company, surprising many, especially Kaku. "He can do that too." Nojiko nodded, "Yeah, you get used to it after a while. XXX. Come on, how hard could it be to find a ship with a ram figurehead? Hell, I'm lost," Naruto thought to himself as he tore around the outlying area on the outskirts of Water 7 trying to find the Going Merry. While doing this, he found a rather massive brown frog with hair in a samurai style and numerous scars on its body. "Maybe this guy could help me out." Naruto stopped and shouted out at the amphibian in the water, "Oi! Can you help me out really quick?" The massive animal swam over to Naruto and looked at him rather impatiently. "Man, this guy reminds me of Gamabunta. Can you tell me which way northeast is? I need to get there to help some people out really quick." The toad lifted a webbed leg and pointed directly behind Naruto, getting him to sigh in exasperation. "Damn it, okay, thanks a lot. I'll come back with a treat or something nice for you later. Right now I've got to go kick some ass." Naruto once again took off at high speed, cutting through town to get directly to the northeast edge of the island. After running for a while, Naruto found Luffy, Usopp, Zoro, and Chopper, all hovering over a badly beaten Usopp. He looked forward and saw a rather gaudy-looking house that basically advertised itself as the hideout of the gang. Naruto walked over with a frown on his face as he looked over the injured marksman. He tried getting them back by himself, didn't he? Sanji nodded and took his cigarette from his mouth. "We're going in to kick their asses right now." Naruto nodded and cracked his knuckles. "Do you mind if I start?" This would be killing two birds with one stone in this instance, seeing as how this move is kind of wild, and I really don't care too much for these Frankie guys right now. I need the practice. Sanji gestured for him to proceed and Naruto moved ahead of the rest of the Straw Hats, forming two hand seals before calling out the name of the jutsu. Mokuden Haijutsu, Jukai Kuden, would release secret technique, nativity of a world of trees. The ground began to rumble and large roots began to sprout up from the ground, trailing away from Naruto and towards the house before finally fully surfacing and forming a series of trees that punctured the structure of the building thoroughly and on multiple sides, in some cases the branches forming from the trees punched through the other side. Naruto grinned as the Straw Hat members took that as their cue to head up and kick in the door. Who the hell had the balls to do that to our place? Someone must have a death wish. Everyone inside, dressed in the uniform of wearing strange overalls and goggles, took note of the 5 people that were standing at what used to be their door. "You're that Straw Hat, Luffy," a massive man in body armor said, not frightened after learning that Luffy was the one leading the charge. "Are you here for the money? Look at how many people we have here. You're only 5 little guys, we outnumber you 10 to 1. We'll take the bounty on your head and get even more money." He patted his armored torso. "A weak guy like you, I'll give you the first free hit." Naruto cocked an eyebrow and looked at the other Straw Hats. Is he serious? Did they not just pay attention to the giant trees I made that tore this place a new one? Luffy immediately started throwing punches that didn't hit the large man, prompting him to begin laughing. "That's enough, boy. I'll show you how to fight. Gomu Gomu no Cannon, Gum Gum Cannon." Luffy shot both of his fists into the body of the man's armor, piercing it and destroying it, knocking the man out with one attack. The quick defeat thoroughly freaked out all of the Frankie family, who tried begging off and talking it out with them before pulling out a set of cannons and firing them off. Zoro pulled out all 3 of his swords and cut right through the cannonballs that had been sent at them, as well as the cannons themselves. You should have done your homework when you picked people to rob. They all began hightailing it to the back door when Sanji jumped over the lot of them and cut them off, landing on the head of one of the enemies in a handstand and delivering a series of vicious kicks to the surrounding people, taking them all down. Chopper even got into the action as well, transforming into his horn point form, using his horns to throw the men up into the air, forcing them to land on their heads, sticking straight up. Roseo Colonnade, Cherry Blossom Colonnade. We don't have to fight. The outmatched group of thieves yelled, trying to reason with the angry Straw Hats and the amused Naruto, who was just fine with sitting back and letting them handle their own business. The 200 million we got from that Pinocchio guy isn't here anymore. Our boss Frankie already took the cash and went shopping. He's probably already on the C train and we have no idea where he's going either. You can't get your money back. He was cut off by Naruto pelting him in the head with a piece of debris, knocking him out. Naruto pulled his outstretched arm back in place. You guys talk way too much. Just give up or fight. We don't have anything to say to you. Sanji put a new cigarette in his mouth. It's not just about the money anymore, you morons. Zoro had his bandana on his head and no look of giving any quarter in his eyes. That's right, you pissed us off. Luffy flexed his fists with a look of intensity on his face. We're going to pulverize you all. That's our line, you idiots. One of the men yelled back as they pulled a large cannon out. There's still only 5 of you and tons of us left. Unfortunately for them, their more powerful adversaries apparently couldn't care less about the numerical odds as they all began beating the daylights out of the remainder of the gang effortlessly. XXX. Some time later, what had remained of the Frankie house had been destroyed when Naruto used his Mokuden powers again to form more trees for lumber intended for building, turning the area into a veritable forest. So what are you guys going to do now? He formed a mass of clones and had them take positions all around the trees. I want nice even clean cuts, like the lumber we saw in the yard. Sanji sat on some of the wreckage they had caused when they thrashed the thieves. So should we actually go after that Frankie guy? Where would we go? Zoro asked as Luffy stood off to the side, a look of intense thought on his features, and Chopper off treating Usopp's wounds. These small fries don't know where the money is and we can only take care of the guy after he gets back from shopping. He isn't coming back anytime soon. Sanji sighed. We're just wasting time here. Let's go back. Nami is alone on the ship. We can't find Robin, and the ship itself is breaking down too. Naruto turned his attention away from his clones who were working on using their wind chakra to section up the trees. Where are you guys keeping your ship? I'll swing ours over nearby right now, then I'll help you look for Robin-chan. Zoro and Sanji pointed over in the general direction of their ship, implying that it was on the outskirts of Water 7 in that direction. Naruto nodded and prepared to leave when Luffy abruptly spoke. I've finally made a decision. He took a deep breath. I've decided that it's time to say goodbye to the Going Merry. Naruto looked at the Straw Hat crew solemnly and let out a sigh. I'll see you guys later, he said before vanishing in a yellow flash. XXX. Hours later. Nightfall. How terrible, Vivi commented from her spot at the helm. After he, Nojiko, and Johnny had returned, Naruto had allowed her to take over steering the ship to allow her some practical instruction. For times when he wasn't there, someone else would need to know how. Why not her? I loved that ship. I had some wonderful times on that ship with the others. Naruto was watching over the front of the ship as it traveled. I know. I had a decent time on it too while I was with their crew, but there's nothing they can do. If it's done, it's done. That iceberg guy seemed like a straight shooter. I don't think he would have lied to them about something like that. Vivi's frowning face turned into a smile once the Going Merry came into view. It's going to be so good to see everyone again though. I missed them all. Naruto allowed himself a grin. You'd better, and I know they miss you too. Luffy tried to beat me up earlier because he thought I really kidnapped you. He jumped on the front railing. Okay, I'm going to go drop in and say hey really quickly. He pointed back at her. You. Don't run the ship aground or run into the Going Merry, or I'll terrorize you tomorrow during training. Vivi rolled her eyes and sent a dismissive gesture Naruto's way. He grinned and blew her a kiss before disappearing in a swirl of water, prompting Vivi to blink at his shunshin. That was new. I thought the only thing he could do with that was use leaves and wind. Naruto reappeared aboard the Going Merry much the same way that he had left his own ship with a grin on his face and a Hiraishin kunai in his hand. Oi! Guess who's back? And I've got something special for all of my Straw Hat people. He looked down on the deck where he saw Usopp lying on his back, beaten up just as badly as before, and with a somber look on his face. What's wrong? What happened, and where are the others? They left, Usopp said. They decided to leave the Going Merry behind and I kicked their asses off. You should have seen it. Naruto crouched down by Usopp with a dry look on his face. Yeah, you sure look like you beat all of their asses. He poked Usopp on the forehead. So you're just going to ditch everyone because of this ship? From what I heard when I was at the Galila Company, this thing is on borrowed time here. What are you going to do with it? I'll keep sailing it, Usopp exclaimed vehemently. I'll fix it up just like I always have and keep sailing on. A brave warrior of the sea never turns him back on his comrades, and the Going Merry is a comrade. A nakama, a member of the crew just like any of us. Naruto let out a sigh and sat next to Usopp on the deck, just letting the silence of the night wash over them both. After a while, Naruto finally spoke. That's true, but you did kind of turn your back on your comrades. Oh well, it's not my place. You're going to believe what you want to. I'm weak, Naruto, Usopp said rather tearfully. I lost the money. I always need someone stronger like Luffy or Zoro to handle fights for me. I can't protect anyone. Then get stronger. Usopp sat up and looked at Naruto, whose tone had quickly turned from one of understanding to one of confident assertion. If you don't think you're strong enough, then just get stronger. If you don't like being protected all the time, then make it so that you're the one that does the protecting. Naruto turned his head towards Usopp. I remember the time we met when we fought Kuro and all of his pirates and you didn't back up a step. You fought even past the point of you being able to stand up. That's the kind of drive a guy like you should cultivate. Use that to go past your limits again and again. Naruto flexed his arm. I used to be weak too. So many people lost their lives or lost things important to them by trying to protect me. I never wanted anyone to ever have to do that again. That's one of the reasons that I keep trying to improve, so that I can protect others close to me instead of needing to be protected. And you can do it too. Usopp looked back up at the sky. I'm not sure. I still think that without me dragging the crew down, everything will be better. Like I said, there's nothing special about me. Let me tell you a little story. Naruto said, when I was 12, my village was attacked by two others that were intent on annihilating every one of us, and I wound up being swept into the fight as well as my teammates. I wound up having to chase one of my teammates far outside the village and wound up going against this guy named Gaara, and I thought he was going to kill us all. XXX. The next day, earlier that morning, the Foxhound crew had taken the natural disaster in to be worked on after the plans were finalized the previous day, and through a combined effort of every male on board, Naruto had been dragged from the ship to a nearby hotel still in his sleep. Not nearly as easy as it sounded, as Naruto fought anyone trying to disturb his slumber. After the rather violent transport and upon awakening, in the late afternoon, Naruto was immediately hounded with the news that the Straw Hats had attempted to kill Iceberg the night before. More specifically, Nico Robin, the only member of the crew he hadn't seen since their arrival in Water 7. So only sparing time to get dressed, Naruto headed back out towards the main town to figure what had happened and find Robin himself. How hard could it be? With this firmly in mind, Naruto found himself and Johnny for backup and support, at the Galila Company for clues. What the hell happened here? Naruto asked when he arrived to the area in front of Dock 1. It looked like it had been hit by a typhoon. It was that Straw Hat Luffy guy. Yeah, he shot Iceberg and then got away from the strongest Galila members when they tried to bring him down. It's fine though, with Aqua Laguna tonight he isn't going anywhere. I don't like this Naruto and Ikki, Johnny said rather hesitantly. Do you really think that any of them actually did this? Naruto shook his head. No, it's not anyone on the Straw Hat crew's style to use guns except for maybe Usopp, and he was on the Going Merry all night. None of them did a thing, I'm certain of it. Nobody was going to help the crew out, he was sure of it. They were pirates, they had no one to turn to in case of injustices done to them, so Naruto had to do it himself. Now hold on a minute here, I know all of those guys and I'll say, staking my own word on it, that they would never pull anything like that. Straw Hat Luffy just broke into Iceberg's mansion and tried to finish the job. Naruto's face quickly fell from one of confidence to one of a man walking to the gallows. Thank you Luffy, thank you so much for proving my words right. I appreciate it, Naruto said sarcastically. So you're the Straw Hat Kid's ally? Polly said, flanked by two muscular men, shirtless with tattoos, as well as Kaku and Rob Lucci. You should have just stayed quiet and let us handle it. Do you really want all of Water 7 as an enemy? Naruto frowned. No, all I wanted was my ship to get fixed, I just paid for it yesterday. But if you're calling out the Straw Hat crew for something I know they didn't do, then I'm going to support them. Killing anyone at all isn't Luffy's style. He noticed the people around the scene moving in with angry looks on their faces and flared his chakra intensely enough to cause a small windstorm. The real question is, do you want to make an enemy out of me? Because I'll actually hit you back. Johnny held his hand on his sheathed Uchigatana, and I don't really care if I kill any of you during the fight. I'm not going to try to, but if it happens it happens. You were the ones picking a fight with us. We're just looking for our friends. Polly narrowed his eyes. Well then we can haul you off to jail just like with the Straw Hat crew. Johnny whispered to Naruto. This is bad Naruto Aniki, we already brought the ship to dock 2 to start being worked on. We don't have an escape route. We need it to leave the island, and there's supposed to be a huge storm tonight, we're stuck here. Naruto shrugged, there's always an escape route. He punched the palm of his hand, you just beat up enough people for you to run and hide to lay low. Johnny sighed and readjusted his sunglasses on his face. This isn't going to be fun, is it? His answer came when the weights on his legs deactivated and dropped to the ground. He looked over at Naruto and saw that he had his hands in the seal release position. I didn't think so. Naruto saw the larger of the shirtless tattooed men pull out a large handheld cannon. You're going to want to move Johnny, now. Demi cannon. The cannon fired at Naruto and Johnny as the two rushed away from the target area, one moving in a faster blur than the other, in opposite directions, splitting the two up as the nearby crowd roared in approval of the Straw Hat sympathizers getting theirs at the hands of the strongest members of the Galila Company. XXX Johnny vs. Peeply Lulu. Tilestone. Another cannon blast that landed in front of Johnny stopped the fleet-footed swordsman in his tracks. Stop shooting at me, you maniac. What the hell do you want? Leave us alone. Tilestone, the larger of the two men with brown hair in a ponytail and a gray beard, took aim at Johnny again. Iceberg is a great man. To let the people that attempted to kill him go on about their business is a slap in the face of this town, and if you're going to defend them you're going down too, because no one's going to help you. Johnny felt the urge to face palm were he not in a fight. It's times like this I feel like slapping myself for naming our crew as the Foxhound Pirates. We could have avoided tons of trouble. Hey, where's the other guy? Johnny's answer came in the form of a kick that caught him in the side of the head and sent him rolling across the ground. There's no sanctuary for pirates like you who decide to do as they wish in this town. Peeply Lulu, the other man with short black hair that had a cowlick sticking from the side of it, said. He walked over to a nearby carpenter's table and grabbed 2 saws. Johnny picked himself back up with a grin on his face as he felt the bruise rising on his cheek. Hey, is that the best you've got? Naruto Aniki hit me harder than that in his sleep. His thumb flicked his sword loose in its sheath. That was the last time I've ever volunteered to wake him up. The massive man fired his cannon again and Johnny quickly rushed from his spot to attack him directly. His quick slash at Tilestone was blocked by the cannon that prompted Johnny to grit his teeth in exasperation. Damn it. I still can't cut through metal yet. Even Yosaku can now. I need to stop working on speed and get more strength. XXX Naruto vs. Polly. Rob Lucci Kaku. Naruto stood atop a crane and looked down at the 3 men who had decided to come after him. This is stupid. I like fighting every now and then, but not for something like this. His ship was pretty much in Galley-Law's custody. A fight with them was the very last thing he wanted. He crouched down and tilted his head. Can't we just talk this out? Why do you think that they had anything to do with what happened to your Mayor Iceberg? He said that Nico Robin was the one who had attacked him. Polly said to Naruto, are you still on their side? Naruto immediately nodded. Fine, then you can go down with them as well. A rope flew out of his sleeve up at Naruto, forcing him to jump into the air to dodge. While in the air, however, Kaku appeared above him with a series of chisels in his hands that he threw at the prone Naruto. Upon being hit by the chisels, Naruto's body turned into a log, signifying a kawarimi. On the ground all around Polly, several of Naruto's clones suddenly appeared and rushed him from all sides, bringing a smirk to the man's face. Rupuakushan. Zu Hachi Nato, rope action. Figure of 8 knot. 8 blunted ropes flew from places inside of Polly's clothes and hit all of the clones with ridiculous accuracy. These are specially woven Galila ropes, they're unbreakable. I doubt that, Naruto said as he rushed from a hidden position at Polly while dodging the projectiles thrown by Kaku. However, he wound up being corralled towards a hidden Rob Lucci who had a fist cocked back and heading right for his face. Naruto averted his focus to Lucci and threw his own punch that hit Lucci's head on. Damn. He's just as strong as Luffy is. Thanked Kami for my healing ability, I think that broke my hand. I know that hurt him too though. Naruto's still outstretched hand was tied up by another of Polly's ropes as he was caught off guard, abruptly pulled off of his feet and into the air. Polly attempted to slam Naruto into the ground as Naruto reached the apex of elevation. Rupuakushan. Moai Musubi, rope action. Bolin knot. While he was being hurled up into the air, Naruto slid a kunai into his hand from his sleeve, Heen, flying swallow. Naruto channeled wind chakra into the blade, making it stronger in its cutting power and freed himself from Polly's rope. However, Naruto wound up being flung high into air with the momentum used to get him up that high. Kaku took aim at the airborne shinobi and tried picking him off with more projectiles. Naruto batted away the offending tools with his kunai and threw it at Kaku, getting him to dodge and move towards Lucci, who springboarded off of his hands into the air at Naruto. Naruto made a quick cage bunshin while still in the air and had it throw him at Rob Lucci, bunshin Tayatari clone body blow. Naruto hurtled through the air like a rotating high-speed missile and plowed headfirst directly into Lucci, who crossed his arms to block the attack. The impact sent them both flying off in opposite directions. What's this guy made of? He's super tough. Naruto landed on the top of a building. Stop it now, damn it. I'll tear this place apart if you don't leave us alone. The shipwrights continued to advance. In response, Naruto made 3 hand seals. Fine, you asked for it. Sweden. Koku no Jutsu, water release. Black rain jutsu. A black cloud rose from Naruto's body into the air and began raining all over the area, alerting the others. However, it seemed to do no damage. What was that supposed to be? Polly taunted Naruto. That didn't do anything. He stopped talking when he began smelling what exactly the black fluid Naruto had produced was. You wouldn't. Naruto's face was deadly serious. Try me. He said, making more hand seals. I'll send this whole place up in an oil fire, and then I'll stop the flow of all of the water coming up here so you can't put it out. Read my bounty profile and tell me I can't. He waited for someone to call him out on it. They never did. That's what I thought. Now I'm going to leave. You're all going to stay there. He then created a cage bunshin that started making hand seals before holding the last one. His one job is to set this place on fire if you chase me. Do not fuck with me. Polly grit his teeth in anger at Naruto's threat. You're making an enemy of an entire town, you know. Naruto shrugged. So, I already have an entire country at my throat for no reason. Why not add one more place to the list of areas I can't come back to for stupid reasons? Later. I'll be back for my ship. I paid you. I still expect Stanley to finish working on it. He said, vanishing in a swirl of wind and leaves, leaving his clone behind. Polly glared at the clone, who had a no-nonsense look on its face as it continued to hold its hand seal. TCH, there's nothing we can do without losing the whole dock. He'll get away for now, just like Straw Hat, Luffy. XXX Johnny vs. Peeply Lulu. Tilestone. Johnny traded strikes with Peeply Lulu's twin saws, getting the better of the man, leaving a shallow slash across his chest before focusing back on Tilestone, who had him firmly in his sights. Oh, like hell, I'm letting you shoot me again. Johnny dodged the hand cannon blast as Tilestone kept quickly reloading and refiring. Johnny pumped more and more effort to his legs as he felt his muscles pushing well past their limits. He started getting tunnel vision. Wait, this only happens when I use that move with Yosaku. Can I do it now without his help to gain the speed for it? Hold still. Tilestone shouted before letting off another thunderous blast. Demi cannon. Johnny jumped onto the side of a wall just as the cannonball hit the very same surface, bringing a satisfied smile to Tilestone's face. Dodge that, you little pest. Hanakeru IQ, rebound impact. After Tilestone started to speak, Johnny immediately shot out of the cloud from the explosion directly at him, so fast that he didn't even have time to grab a new cannonball to reload. Johnny slashed Tilestone across the chest and flew past him, the speed of the attack sending the large man stumbling back before Johnny bounced off another surface and cut him across the back. This repeated itself on all sides of his body as Johnny's momentum picked up and forced him to move faster and faster. The only thing denoting his presence were the sounds of his sword cutting through the air as he slashed at his enemy. Tilestone finally had enough and dropped to the ground in a wounded heap. Tilestone. Peeply Lulu called out as he ran over to his comrade when Johnny, still moving at high speed from his last technique, appeared in front of Peeply Lulu with his sword sheathed once more. No. Yosen Ixen, primary flash. A silver flash appeared in front of Johnny, the only sign that he had even pulled his blade loose to cut at him opponent, as his sword seemed to have never left his sheath. He stood straight up and walked past an unmoving Peeply Lulu. You were the ones that picked the fight. The sound of his blade's guard clicking against the top of the scabbard echoed out as he walked away. Peeply Lulu seemed to have nothing wrong with him until the sound of Johnny's sword clicking rang out. He let out a groan as a vertical wound from his shoulder to his hip began spraying blood as he dropped onto the ground. Naruto landed in front of Johnny and looked at the downed shipwrights. Don't tell me you. Johnny shook his head and cut him off right there. They're not dead. They're not even hurt that badly, Naruto Aniki. I cut shallow, they'll be up in 30. He frowned. I don't really like killing too much. If I could go all out without killing anyone, I would never do it at all. Naruto patted him on the shoulder. If you can win without killing anyone, then you're the better person for it. They didn't deserve to die. Now let's get out of here. The swordsman nodded and quickly followed Naruto as they discreetly tried leaving the area. What are we going to do? Johnny asked as Naruto planned to jump down to the lower levels with him on his back. They think we're accomplices of Zoro Aniki's crew and that they attacked Iceberg San. Naruto jumped down onto a roof in the lower section of town and was rather proud of Johnny for not yelling in fear at their descent. I have a bounty and you look normal enough to blend in with other people. I'm going to be the one put out in the cold from this. Go find everyone else and tell them to drop off for the time being. Soren is in charge since he knows how to make himself scarce. Johnny nodded and prepared to leave when Naruto grabbed his shoulder. And good work. Johnny smiled and nodded before leaving Naruto to himself. He took the Hiraishin kunai out of his pocket and flipped it around intently before looking up at the sky and sighing. Maybe Noji-chan is right. I just can't help but to get into trouble. Only one thing to do now. Naruto threw the kunai into the air and disappeared in a yellow flash. XXX Nightfall. Galila headquarters. The tide around Water 7 had risen to alarming heights by this time as everyone had gotten themselves geared up for the coming storm. Naruto kept a decent berth away from the mansion as it was surrounded by Galila workers. Okay, the place is locked down tighter than the room of a crime lord's virgin daughter. He blinked at what he had just said. Kami, I'm such a deviant, damn you Ero Sennin. A sudden explosion rang out, alerting Naruto to a series of figures that for the most part stealthily infiltrated the mansion during the panic. They're decent. Of course, getting in without causing a ruckus would have been much better. One of the attackers on the mansion defeated many of the workers guarding the place with swift use of a thorned whip. What in the hell is going on? Should I do something? He then saw Zoro, Nami, and Chopper run right up to the front door that was still heavily guarded, and thus the chase began. Well, that answers that question. Naruto began running along rooftops and wound up running right alongside the miserably outnumbered trio before jumping down in front of them all. Naruto, Nami called out as she ran past him. As she and Chopper did so, Zoro turned alongside Naruto to face off with the crowd, his swords drawn. Zoro. What are you two doing? Saving your asses. Taju Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, multiple shadow clone jutsu, Naruto called out, flooding the street with clones that formed a wall. Zoro, you're going to want to close your eyes for this one, trust me. The swordsman was confused, but did as requested as Naruto had his trust. As the green-haired man closed his eyes, Naruto grinned fairly and formed a series of hand seals. Transform. A large puff of smoke clouded the street that the shipwrights charged into, harem no jutsu, harem jutsu. The smoke cleared and every one of the men that were close enough to get a view of the mass amounts of beautiful, naked blonde women standing in the street provocatively flew backwards into sweet unconscious bliss as torrents of blood gushed from their noses. Damn, I've still got it. Naruto yelled in victory, I'm an army killer baby. Zoro opened his eyes upon Naruto's declaration of success and looked around to see the beaten shipwrights, a grinning Naruto, a mortified Chopper, and a blushing Nami who looked ready to strangle Naruto. What did he do? I didn't see anything. Yes, Nami-chan, Naruto said, trying to intentionally provoke her. Tell Zoro how I beat all of those guys in one move, he wants to know. Nami glared at him and huffed before walking up to Naruto and poking him on the chest. You're making it up to me for using that move in front of me, understood? Naruto nodded and Nami grabbed his chin, getting close to his face. I'll deal with you after we're done with all of this. You owe me one hell of a date after all of this time. Zoro shrugged at the little spat between the two and began running towards the mansion to get inside like Luffy had. Nami then realized what they had been doing. That's right. We need to get in there to find Robin and help Luffy. She and Chopper began running after Zoro. Naruto-kun, can you find Sanji for me? We don't know where he is and he's been missing all day. Naruto nodded and yelled back to her, can you all handle this? Are you sure you don't need my help? Nami turned back and winked at him. We can handle this, Naruto. We've done just fine so far since you left us. We should tell you sometime. We're way stronger. She then turned towards the mansion and kept running along with Chopper. Naruto frowned and formed a cage bunshin. Go find the others and tell them what's happening. Tell them to get to Iceberg's mansion and watch the Straw Hat Crew's backs. I'll be back with them soon enough. The clone nodded and took off as Naruto reached into his coat and pulled out the Hiraishin kunai he carried with him. Damn it, I still haven't managed to give this to them yet, he scolded himself before taking off in search of Sanji. XXX 10 minutes later, Nojiko arrived at the scene on the back of Soren, who had deemed it necessary to carry her to arrive faster. Oh my god, what happened here? The entire mansion was burned to the ground and the people were out front gathered around Nami, Iceberg, Polly, and an unconscious Chopper. Nami. What happened? Naruto-kun told us to come here in case you needed help. Miss Valentine landed from the sky with her umbrella in hand as Johnny and Yosaku arrived shortly thereafter on foot. Nami ran up to Nojiko and grabbed her shoulders. I need to find Luffy and then Naruto-kun. We need to go save Robin from the government officials that took her. Nojiko blinked in confusion before her face hardened. Tell me everything, and what we might be able to do to help you. Soren walked over to a wounded Chopper. I think we're going to need Murat's help to fix the little reindeer guy. He rubbed his bald head. She's going to be pissed about working on an animal though, but it can't be helped. Yosaku formally saluted as if he were a soldier as he spoke. Well, if Nico Robin is being taken from the island, then the next and last train out of here leaves in 20 minutes. We're going to have to move if we're going to make it down there. We need to go now then. Nami said, we have to go convince Robin ourselves. I need someone to check over in the directions that Luffy and Zoro were thrown. Johnny and Yosaku volunteered, as did the newly reawakened Chopper just as Polly sat up. Hey everyone. He said, speaking to the Galila workers, help them all out. The workers started spouting off about how they were Iceberg's assassins, finally pissing him off. The assassins weren't the Straw Hats, we were deceived. They were framed by the actual killers and fought against them, they fought for us. They're the only reason that Iceberg and I are still alive. He stood up and motioned to Nami. Hey, I'll lead you to the station, you shameless woman. He pointed at her and Nojiko. I still think you should wear something to cover yourselves better. XXX Blue Station. Sanji watched from the nearby shadows as Robin walked in a crowd of people over to a bunch of government agents. Bingo, you see. I told you she'd come through here eventually. Naruto appeared behind him with a smirk on his face. You were right after all. And here I was, about to knock you out and drag you off to the mansion. It looks like I owe you the next volume of Ika Ika once this is all over. Sanji let out a chuckle. Now let's see. Government officials, some Marines, and Robin-chan. Now how do we get on board so I can rescue this lovely princess? He was about to move when Naruto grabbed his shoulder. Sanji turned to find Naruto grinning at him. Let me handle this part. I'm an old hand at it. He then frowned and pointed out at what he had seen. Crap, this is getting more and more troublesome. Let me go, damn it. A bound Usopp yelled as he was carried aboard the sea train by Bluno, who himself was walking behind Khalifa, Kaku, and Rob Lucci, all dressed in black outfits with stern looks on their faces. This isn't a game, brace yourselves. Lucci ordered the Marines and officials who were standing and saluting the passing group, all hands board the train. Sanji laughed humorlessly as Usopp continued being carried away, and he said he wouldn't cause us any more trouble. Well, this still feels like trouble to me. Huh, I fought half of those guys not 7 hours ago. Naruto shook his head and schooled his features. Alright, you can bitch at him for getting himself caught later. Right now we've got to get on this train. I don't think anyone else is coming to help us on this one. I've got your back. After all, I can't let a loyal reader do something like this on his own. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, as well as checking out the author on fanfiction.net.